Here in New York City, we have a wide variety of street musicians you can find on sidewalks, in the park, and the subway, and to be honest, most of them are pretty good. But there's one type of street music that was once common, if controversial, and long gone, unlikely to ever make a comeback. Organ grinders were essentially street musicians, although there was no real musical skill needed to operate the devices. By cranking the handle, a song would play from the machine in a tooting, sometimes slightly out of tune fashion. The grinders quickly gained notoriety. The fact that their instruments could only play the same set of songs over and over, the unique timbre of the instrument, and the sheer numbers of them out there just drove some people crazy. And then there were the monkeys. Alongside the grinders famously were trained capuchin monkeys, often wearing a small uniform. The monkeys' job was to collect money from the onlookers, and their entertainment value was a big part of the show. They did little tricks like doffing their caps when getting coins. Some monkeys were even trained to climb up the facades of buildings to get money from onlookers above, and if there was no one up there, they might even climb into the windows to search for money inside the apartments. Such was the demand that a parallel industry of monkey training schools developed. The organ grinder trade is most associated with Italians. When they began immigrating to New York in greater numbers in the 1850s, many men without formal professions found themselves frozen out of the more conventional, unskilled manual labor market. So they turned to the organs. Most street organ machines were actually made in Italy, so they were familiar and for sale in Italian neighborhoods. By the 1880s, about 5% of the Italian men living in this area that was once known as Five Points were employed as organ grinders. One store owner interviewed in 1890 estimated having sold 5,000 organs to Italians in the previous 27 years. The profession had declined by the 1890s as better work opportunities arose for Italians and public animosity continued, no doubt partially driven by anti-immigrant sentiment. Of course, it didn't help that in 1887 the police began enforcing a ban on the public use of monkeys, who were seen as a nuisance. Nevertheless, you could still find organ grinders around until the 1930s, but the profession's days were numbered. In 1935, Mayor LaGuardia was on a mission to fix up the city, including tamping down on noise and reducing begging, under which he included street musicians of all types. So starting in 1935, the city stopped issuing licenses for street musicians and organ grinding disappeared. Unfortunately, a lot of the machines would get junked and the music inside lost. And although the ban was repealed 40 years later, organ grinding never made a comeback.